Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome. For those of you who don't know, I think you all do, but I'm going to say it anyway. My name is Dr. Kimberly Senamore, and it is my distinct pleasure to serve as coordinator of the Music Therapy Degree Program here in the Bauer School of Music and the Arts at Florida Gulf Coast University. I'm so excited that you all could be here to join us. I was telling our president, we have people coming from the East Coast, people coming from Tampa, just so excited that some people coming just from down the street who are local, but really excited to have you all here. It's great to see students, alums, our community partners for an afternoon of celebrations, of learning and connecting with each other. Our program, we do have some built-in breaks with the program, but we're going to start after our introductions with a little bit of history of the program. We'll take a little break, and then we're going to welcome our keynote presenter, who I will introduce later this afternoon, followed by a Q&A with some of our alums. There'll be another break, and then we have a panel discussion with kind of students, alums, and faculty that represent the history of the music therapy program here at FGCU. So it should be a fun afternoon. So glad you all could join us. I would like to introduce, we're very pleased and honored to have several distinguished guests, including everyone here, but I'd also like to welcome the FGCU president, President Timur, to the stage to offer some brief remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, you have to do better. It's Saturday, it is FGCU, and we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of our music therapy program. So with that, I think I need a bigger yes. I want to hear the excitement. Woo! Absolutely. But I want to put in a context. I really want to put it in a context. Remember, FGCU is a young institution. Please remember, we are only 28-year-old institution, young institution. So in our, short history, look how much we have done and how much we have grown our programs, our alumni, our engagement in the community, and how we are growing. So let me tell you, your university, yes, I know, maybe some of you in the room would say, hold on, I did not graduate from FGCU, but let me remind you, you're here now. So it means you're in the Eagle Land. This is your university. Even you did not graduate from FGCU, but FGCU is Southwest Florida's university. We are your university. So in our short history, again, 28 years, FGCU has built 65 undergraduate degree programs, 26 master's degree programs, and we have 7 doctoral programs. So why I'm saying all these things to you, I have an amazing team. The university has come to this point with such hard-working team. So first, I would like to ask you to give a big round of applause to Kimberly Senamore, please. Her leadership, amazing leadership. On the ground doing this work, that is to me so important. This is one of the 4 undergraduate programs in the Bauer School of Music and the Arts. And of course, we have an amazing director of the Bauer School of Music and the Arts. And so, Dr. Bernacchi, I'm gonna ask you to stand up to be recognized, please. Thank you. And as part of that great team, and we have Dr. Laura Frost in the room, who is our interim dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Again, today, they make me really look good. You can see that, this amazing program. But 2 years ago, when I was selected for this position, presidency position, I said, I am committed to the institutional mission, but I am also committed to the community partnerships. We would not do this amazing program without our absolutely fantastic community partners, from Golisano Children's Hospital to, yes, absolutely, yes, thank you, David Lawrence Center and Naples Senior Center, yes, absolutely. We have so many of them that we are working very closely, and I'm so appreciated of the partnership, even not only just the medical providers in the region, but also Shell Point, Moorings Park, our partnerships in so many ways to serve our communities. I am so grateful. So what tells you is that this university is very strategic, very intentional, very purposeful, how we are collaborating and doing the work together. So, you know, I can go on and talk about how your university is doing an amazing job, but I'll leave that part of the narrative to my team members. Each one of them will tell you how our music therapy program, the Bauer School of Music and the Arts, how the overall university is doing amazing work. And today, absolutely, I am so thankful that you are here in this room celebrating the 10th anniversary of the music therapy program. So with that, let's give you a big round of applause for being here and celebrating this with us. So before I leave the stage, you have to join me for the Eagle Pride, which we always do. We are eagles. We have wings. We always say wings up, right? Let me see all the wings. Oh, I know everybody's doing it. Great. Everyone, 1, 2, 3, wings up and go Eagles.
Thank you so much, President Timur. I would now like to invite to the stage Interim Dean, Dr. Laura Frost.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I don't have much more to say after President Timur, but I would like to recognize the faculty that are part of this amazing program. One of the founding faculty of this program is here, Dr. Michael Rohrbacher. Well, thank you for being here. And of course, Dr. Senamore, who we've already applauded, but we can do it again. And Dr. Jaylee Montgomery, who's in the back there in the blue. So this program has really grown in the last 10 years. And one of the things that they've managed to do in the last couple years is, if there's faculty or students out there that have music degrees and they're interested in being a part of music therapy, we also have a certificate program where you can round out your music degree and become part of the music therapy community. So, so if any of you are out there thinking, oh, I'd like to, you know, after you hear everything today, you're like, oh, I want to be a part of that, we have a program for that. So, so that's exciting, and I thank Kimberly for managing to develop that program in the last couple years. So it's on the website, and you can look at the credentialing you need there. And I'm really excited to be here to just hear more about the program and how it got started. And we've got a lot of community partners out there. And if you're in one of those places where you're like, maybe we could be a community partner, we'd be happy to talk to you some more about how to manage that. So I'm really excited to be here. And thank you so much, Kimberly. And I think we're going to have, oh, you're supposed to introduce the next. person. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the kind words and for being here and joining us. Dr. Bernacki, we would love it if you would come and welcome our crew. Please join me in welcoming the director of the Bauer School of Music and the Arts, Dr. Christoph Bernacki.
Good afternoon, everyone. Absolutely delighted to see so many students, current students and former students, so many names that all of a sudden I have to remember again, right? It's been a few years and I have to remember everyone's name. So it's absolutely delighted to see so many familiar faces. Thank you so much to President Timur and wonderful family, First Gentleman Mete and Alara Timur who are here with us. So it feels like a family affair. I didn't realize that I have to make a speech today, so this will be improvised. So please forgive me for just a moment. I have to tell you, we also have a very special guest in the audience this afternoon. Someone we didn't expect just a few days ago. So it is my pleasure and honor to introduce Catherine Zegel, who's with us in the audience. And Catherine is late Alan Chorist's daughter. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Catherine and I, we met at an event earlier this week, and Catherine and her husband Ron just moved down from Michigan, and she happened to be available this afternoon, and she was so interested in the growth of the program and, of course, the legacy of her father, Alan Chorist, who was instrumental in establishing this school and establishing the endowments for our school, especially the two endowments for music therapy specifically. Catherine's mother, Marilyn Bauer Chorist, right, was very passionate about music therapy specifically. So it's just so delightful and so serendipitous that you're able to join us today. We just met at an event a few days ago, and thank you so much for making the time. I know it's a very busy day for you today, so we're just delighted and honored that you could be with us today, and we really hope that this is a start of a wonderful relationship going forward for you to be more engaged with our school and specifically with our music therapy program. So on a personal note, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you that the music therapy program was actually one of the biggest draws for me when I applied for this position. In 2019, I thought this is a wonderful school in Southwest Florida and have very unique, fast-growing, interesting, future-oriented degree programs, and music therapy was definitely one of them. So we are, as you know, we are one of only 3 schools in the state of Florida that offer music therapy. It's us, it's University of Miami, and that one other school up north there in the Panhandle, right? Yeah. So it gives us a very unique, very special place in this industry to be able to offer this wonderful degree. The growth, we'll talk about the growth a lot today. From 2006, when the Bauer School of Music was started with just 29 students, to where we are today, and as President Timur mentioned, it's absolutely astounding what has been accomplished in just 19 years. It's not quite 20, so as we celebrate 10th anniversary today for music therapy, next year we'll be celebrating the 20th anniversary for the Bauer School of Music. Just 20 years, right? Absolutely. Fantastic milestone coming up next year, so I hope you'll be able to join us and come out for that celebration. Details will be announced soon enough, but it's an extreme honor and a pleasure to be part of this wonderful school, wonderful community of faculty members, staff members, students, of course, our esteemed leadership of the university. Southwest Florida and FGCU is a great place to be, so I hope you feel the same way about being an FGCU alumnus and an FGCU faculty member or a staff member. This is a special place with a very special culture, and we take care of this place greatly, and we're very proud of this institution. So I hope we have a wonderful day getting to know each other a little bit better, celebrating these milestones, and looking forward to many, many, many more years of accomplishments, not just for music therapy program, but also for the entire school and the entire university. So as President Timur says, wings up and go Eagles. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Bernacki. Would you all please join me in welcoming to the stage Dr. Michael Rohrbacher. Dr. Rohrbacher and I will be, it's our pleasure. This is our first time presenting together, I think. Yes. It is. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to talk a little bit about what this program is, where it got started, and where it is now, and where we are going. And I'm going to pass it off to Dr. Rohrbacher.
Well, one characteristic of any new program is all of the firsts. And so I'm pleased to share with you that I don't think for 10 years you've ever seen me in a coat and tie. And so I am ready to go for you. I also would like to, before beginning the presentation, I'd like to welcome Suzanne Rohrbacher. And we know that services adjunct faculty, and then the day I decided, I don't know, to step into interim director of the Bauer School of Music and the Arts, Sue came in full time to cover the bases. So it was wonderful. Thank you, Sue. I also would like to welcome Maxine Gibbs. If you could stand up, please. Maxine. You've heard of the program of Impact, and Maxine serves as the director of Impact. It is a great special education program, age 3 to 5 and growing. And I do want to put in a little plug for this Monday. I'll be doing some music therapy sessions there, 9 o'clock and 9:30 this coming Monday, so students are invited. Let me know if you'd like to come over and hang out. We'll have a great time. Okay, ready? All right, that's, okay. Here we are wanting to begin this music therapy program, and here's this agency called the Southwest Florida Children's Charities. And I was asked to give a presentation in December of 2014 to describe what we would be all about. So I had to begin with music in my presentation before this formal group. So I would like you right now to channel your inner box music. Okay, that's what it's called, right? Okay. So we're going to have about 8 measures of practice. So whatever you feel like bringing to it, the beatbox, you got to bring that to the moment, because that's going to help me. I'll show you how we introduced our program to the Southwest Florida Children's Charities. 1, 2, ready, go. No, go. Yeah, there you go. 1, 2, 3, go. Let's see, I'm going to read off here. So we've got to keep going. So we got to think about this. What does it mean to have a music therapy program? Let's see. Okay, we got it. Keep going. Here we go. This much we need music therapy in Southwest Florida. Let me tell y'all. With clapping hands and fancy sticks, there's so much fun now we can fix. With all my friends who are just rocking out, doing well, no time to doubt. Choose to play, is the drum up next. Moments of joy, not complex. One more time to get it right. One last time with joy inside. So I hope we answered your questions as to what music therapy can be here in Southwest Florida. So needless to say, this is how we began the program officially with an area agency. Very important to us. Okay. Do you want me to do the clicking? Yeah, okay, great. What do I hit? Okay, good. As the program began developing the proposal, I would like to thank the administration of FGCU. you represent all the challenges that were before me at that time. Not only did we have the Bauer School of Music and faculty, we had the FGCU administration, we had AMTA, Certification Board for Music Therapists, the Board of Governors, trying to figure out how do we put all this together. And the one thing that I was told directly by the then provost of the College of Arts and Sciences, I must bring data to the table. There is no chance to get this program unless I could show that there was a reason to have music therapy here in Southwest Florida. And so this is the map that I had to look at. Southwest Florida, one of 8 regions in the state of Florida, and I had to demonstrate that, yes, we needed it right here in Florida, Southwest. Whoops. Okay. So one of the first questions I had to deal with was, well, where will I get the data? Current practice, CBMT, 5-year period. Very fortunate to be able to contact CBMT and ask for every record they could send me about the status of music therapy here in the state of Florida and by extension into Southwest Florida. So the question is, are there jobs? I don't know how many times I heard that phrase, are there jobs? So I was able to answer that question. Yes, we have employment opportunities in Florida in the year 2014. Then came the issue of, well, what are the current educational opportunities here in the state? And as you know, there's this, the school up north? Yeah, they had a program, still do, and certainly Miami. But when we began to pull the numbers out of the CBMT data, we then began to see that out of state, 142 music therapists working in the state of Florida were trained somewhere else. That became an important piece of the puzzle, as well as representation from FSU in Miami. Let me warn you, I did the cataract thing. I don't know if I got glasses or not glasses, and right now you're a mess. Here you look great. That looks terrible. Never mind. Struggling, we'll give it a try. All right. So there we have a restatement, just the importance of training of music therapists occurred out of state, and we needed to develop our own community of people here. And so in the material from CBMT, I was able to extract information from 151 music therapists who represented 356 case study reports of the status of music therapy here in the state. And this particular slide, this was gold. This is what propelled us further, because as you can see, in Southwest Florida, underserved. I had to show that there was a need in Southwest Florida in comparison to other places in the state. And so then we see University of Miami and Florida State, the places where lots of music therapy activity was going on, also up toward Jacksonville, but very, very little down here in Southwest Florida. So then we have, then how does this help in beginning to start the program? And so you'll see the third bullet point. It talks about now we can identify an underserved area in the state of Florida. We know that Florida does support music therapy at the federal and state level with VA hospitals and state institutions. We do see state tax dollars, Florida State, going into bachelor's, master's, and doctoral programs, your tax dollars at work. So by extension, a program right here in Southwest Florida is where there is the greatest need for this program. And I was thrilled because I made the cut with the data. This was good. And so at the very, very beginning, you don't know how many hours I just sat on the lanai there just thinking, just how is this going to come about? And so we have a shared vision of what the program would be. Sorry, vision. Innovation. Okay. So Suzanne and I, we were 19 years up at Shenandoah University, and working together side by side full time. And when I came here, I saw this as an opportunity for innovation. And the number one thing that surfaced more than anything else was technology and music therapy. And I can assure you this program leads every program in the country regarding applications of technology in music therapy. Crystal King, a former student of Sue and I up at Shenandoah, I immediately tapped into her and said, Crystal, you've got to come down and help. You know about technology, and this is how we want to innovate. And that's how then Crystal came on board. State-of-the-art competency design. So music therapy education and training at the time was really pushing the concept of competencies. And so this was an opportunity to really put in writing what do we do, what do we say, the demonstration of those skills, milestones along the way to make sure you are a competent practitioner. Multiple contexts. Certainly, that yes, we have our music therapy program within the Bowers School of Music, but training occurs in co-curricular ways. Student life, academic success, engagement with the community, advocacy, PT, OT, special education. We had to be keenly aware of all of these types of multiple contexts where learning was possible, not limited to just the music therapy classroom. And disciplinary studies, so there we have the outreach into other disciplines that support our work. So here we go. And I was hired in 2013, and I must say early on, what a team it was. We had the director of the Bowers School of Music at the time, Kathy Albergo. We had Kathy Duff, vice president for curriculum. Oh my gosh, just getting out the shovel and digging, making this work. And let me tell you, if you've ever had to make the standards established by Kathy Duff, I tell you, it was a great, wonderful time working with Dr. Duff. And then the guidance of Kathy Albergo as we continued in the development of the program. Now, the program wasn't approved, so you might wonder why can we be offering music therapy courses? So very much like any community college that wishes to begin music therapy at the freshman, sophomore level, we could offer courses at that level. So we did not need to be fully approved to get the program going. But you have to imagine, like every day that I came in, I hope this program is approved. You know, we've got students coming in and I'm a music therapy major, and I'm like, yeah. There was a little behind the scenes of nervousness about that. And then beginning with all the approvals throughout 2015. A very important point about the beginning of the program was service learning. Unlike many programs around the country, service learning is required. So there we've got these 80 hours that we can pull into the music therapy program as best as possible. And that was a very important piece of the puzzle about learning across multiple contexts. You know, we've got our curriculum, but then design that service learning to get out into the community and just see how you can bring that into your work. And then certainly the community partners. You know, when I look at this, it's like, okay, when I came here, there was just a few things. There was Golisano, which was a wonderful program that just felt so well supported with Tracy. And then gradually growing and growing from there, and the establishment of the practicum sites. But it was just out there pounding the pavement, being an advocate for music therapy. And why is it important then that the agencies might be there in support of us as we support them? And one of the greatest joys right now is just to see how programs have grown. The David Lawrence Center, my gosh, I'm walking in the door and we're just getting off the ground, and then today it's just going so well. We have Impact, fully engaged as we're able to send practicum students and then volunteers, and then, here I come on Monday. If you'd like to join me on new areas, the LARC, all of these programs, just wonderful. Sarah McDonald, Bentley Village, music therapist, credentialed therapist on site. That was just wonderful. They had an endowment for music therapy materials and services. And then the Baker Senior Center, oh my gosh. I got a call from them, and they said, would you like to help us? We want to design a music therapy program, but we don't know what it is. So 6 months later, we received a $16,000 award to begin music therapy. But I will admit, of course, they looked at me and said, well, who's going to provide the service? Well, Sue's in town. And that has now grown to credentialed staff, practicum, looking at internship, and still very active in music therapy sessions at the Baker Senior Center. So it's just been a joy to see these things continue to grow and grow. Okay. Let's see, I'll just see if there's anything. Yeah. What was so exciting, my last point that I'd like to make is that to have the chorist family set the stage that, I'll be very general in nature. I don't know if Alan had said this at the time, but it was like, we're not going to support the Bowers School of Music unless you have a music therapy program. It's right there in writing. And in 2010, all right, so I just am so grateful to you and your family for having the vision to see this happen, because without that, well, we might be at some other school in Northern. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rohrbacher. And so taking it from kind of the founding days with the intention of you will start a music therapy program to actually getting one going up and running just a mere 5 years later. In 2014, the first music therapy classes were taught. A year later, the Bachelor of Music Therapy degree was formally approved. The first students graduated just a couple of years after that. And then, Dr. Rohrbacher mentioned that he stepped into an interim director role, and that's when Professor Suzanne Rohrbacher taught full-time, and then we started bringing in more adjunct professors, first with the hiring of Dr. Dina Register, who still teaches for us, as does Professor Crystal King. In fact, Wave, I think Professor King is probably watching streaming right now. And several of you are in her classes at this moment. And so what's really exciting about that, at least to me, and I tell students this all the time, is that it gives them the opportunity to learn from other people. And not just me, and not just Professor Montgomery, but as we started to really build a team of professors to serve the students. In 2021, Dr. Rohrbacher decided to retire, and that afforded me the opportunity to come and take over as the second coordinator of the music therapy program here. That year, we had our very first music therapy week. We were able, so Professor King and Dr. Register both live out of town, but we built in a tradition where every February, we bring them in for a week of just kind of extra learning opportunities and networking and connecting, and we've done that now. This year will be our fifth one, right? This is my 5th year in the program. This year will be our 5th one. So we had our first music therapy week in February of 2022. And that next year we started, Dean Frost talked about the music therapy equivalency certificate program. We started to have those discussions on a curricular level in 2023. 2023, we also took our very first music therapy study abroad trip to Thailand. So Dr. Register has a special connection with a music therapy program in the College of Music at Mahidol University. And so we were able to make some really fantastic connections there. We actually have an MOU right now. And we had our first study abroad trip in 2023. Our second one we just finished this summer, and I see several of you out in the room who went on these trips. Can you just quick show of your hands if you went on, one of those trips? Several of you. There was a year in 2023 when I stepped in as associate director that we pulled in Professor Natalie Gonzalez to teach for a year and help me with the practicum courses just so we can balance everything. We were fortunate to have her for a year, and then the following year, we welcomed Professor Jaylee Montgomery, who is in her second year here at the program. This year's also been an exciting year because we've had all sorts of approvals come in. The music therapy degree went through a reapproval through both the National Association for Schools of Music, NASM, and the American Music Therapy Association. And our equivalency certificate program was formally approved by both of those organizations this year as well. So we're very excited. So we can actually officially start accepting students, and knock on wood, I have 2 pretty serious applicants, I think. So fingers crossed. I know, it's pretty exciting. A look back at how many students have graduated. We probably have about 8 to 10 students who graduate each year. And so you see there was one year that we had a whole bunch a couple of years ago. This year we anticipate 8 by the end of the calendar year who will graduate. So we've had 56 music therapy students graduate in total. Every given year, at least since I've been here, we've had about 45 students, plus or minus 5, in the program. I think currently we have 47 at this particular moment. We have 63 affiliated clinical sites. This is, right, 63. Many of them are here in the state of Florida, but we also have interns who go out. We had somebody who interned in my first year here in San Jose, California. She wanted to go to the other West Coast, right? We've had interns in the Kansas City area, in South Carolina, in Houston, Texas, in Northern Virginia. So we've been able to send students out to other parts of the country as well who wanted to just get exposure to music therapy practice as it happens in different parts of the country. And then, in terms of passing the exam, we are almost at 80%, and this is the number of students or graduates who have applied to take the exam and eventually passed. And you look at the pass rates in other programs, and we are above average in that area. So I think that's really, really exciting. We've been fortunate, largely through the endowment, to be able to bring in guest speakers. Some come in person, some come via Zoom, but this is at least between Dr. Rohrbacher's and my collective knowledge, a list of speakers who have been able to share their expertise, experiences, and gifts with our music therapy students. Most falls, it's not happening this fall because of today, but I try to bring in somebody for a little mini residency. For example, last year we had Rachel Rambach come to town. Rachel Rambach has a successful private practice in Springfield, Illinois. She also does a lot of songwriting and has a counseling degree. So she spoke a little bit of business, she spoke a little bit of songwriting, and a little bit of kind of verbal counseling strategies that are appropriate for music therapists to implement. So it's a pretty robust list. In fact, some people on this list, like Ashley Heath there, are in this room. Lisa Barnett are in this room. So really, really excited. Jillian, I see you on here too. I'm looking to see who else. All right. So there's some really unique things that make our degree program and our program here special. One is the curriculum, and I give Dr. Rohrbacher a lot of praise for how he set up the curriculum. One of the best things about our program, so there's almost 100 training programs in music therapy in the United States, and of those, I can count on maybe almost 10, but definitely 5 hands, the number of programs that are set up like ours, where if students follow the plan of study, they can actually graduate in 4 years, which is really fantastic. So the curriculum is set up where it's 7 semesters of on-campus classes, and then you go out and do your internship. When I did my training 20-some years ago now, it took me 5 years, really, by the time I finished my internship. So I really think that's a really special thing about this program. Dr. Rohrbacher also talked about the technology component. One of the real gifts of having Professor King still on faculty is that she shares her expertise in assistive technologies with the students in multiple classes throughout the curriculum. And when she comes for Music Therapy Week, we'll have a little makey fun. In fact, that's what you see right here is a makey, right, Chantal? So the focus on assistive technology is really special. And then again, we keep talking about the community partners, but it really is such a gift to have that not only here locally in Southwest Florida, but throughout Florida as well, and across the country at this point. We have an active student association, the Music Therapy Association, and several members and current officers and former officers are in this room. The endowment funds. We're able to bring and enrich student learning experience and offer opportunities through speaking, through bringing in speakers, through subsidizing the summer study abroad trip, through allowing students to have access to resources and instruments and going to professional conferences because of the endowment. It really is such a wonderful gift to have for this program to really enhance student learning. So I'm regularly grateful to the Chorist family for that. And we've had students be involved in publications and research and have presented at professional conferences. So looking ahead just a little bit, we want to continue in excellence in pre-professional training. When people ask me what I do, I say my job is to train future music therapists. I've been doing it for 10 years now, and over 10 years now, and I love it, and I want to keep doing it to just put good work out there, to put musicians out there who will develop, implement, and evaluate music interventions that work, that help improve people's lives, improve their health, improve their wellness. We, and by we I mean Dr. Rohrbacher and Professor King, have a little plan brewing that just need to put into place to get some of this great technology experience and expertise formally integrated as part of competencies in the curriculum. We want to accept and graduate our first certificate students. And again, like I said, I'm hoping to start the first ones in fall 2026. We look forward to supporting more music therapy student research. Since I've been here, just on some of my personal projects, I've been able to get students involved as research assistants. I know this is something Professor Montgomery is very interested in as well, and so that's something, there's some really fantastic resources here at FGCU to support that, so we aim to continue with that. And here's hoping that at one day, maybe in the next 10 years, we will have a graduate music therapy program. Here's hoping. There's so many people and organizations to thank who help make this program a success and help support our students. And only some of them are on here, but it really is a special thing to have these types of relationships with individuals and community partners. And so we're very, very grateful to each and every one of you, to our administrators as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your continued support. And with that, we are at our first break. So before you stand up for our break, I'd like to invite you. We do have food and drink outside. If you need to use the restroom, it's just kind of go that way, and it's around the corner, eventually on your left. And then also in the rehearsal hall right next door, Professor Montgomery will be leading a bit of a music break. So you're invited to go join her as well. We will come back for the next portion around 2 o'clock. Thank you for your attention. We'll see you in a little bit. See if his works. You know, I know. Okay, sounds good. point is not right now. I hope you enjoyed your break and the fantastic food, and thank you to Professor Montgomery for leading a little music. There'll be another music break after this next go-around, which I am so excited about. Our keynote presenter today is Courtney Arndt. Did I say your last name right? Fantastic. Arndt. Courtney is the founder and CEO of Florida Music Therapy, which is a thriving private practice here in the state of Florida. She started it in Brevard. Brevard County. Wanted to make sure I didn't say Broward. I wanted the right B County name. In Brevard County on the East Coast, and a couple of years ago, opened a second branch right here in Lee County that is run by one of our early alums from this program, and we regularly have students who intern. We have 2 right now, a third who interned a bit ago and is now hired by them. And so this is just a really special connection and relationship. When Professor Montgomery and the other music therapy faculty and I started to talk about what today would look like last spring, we put a survey out to students and alums to say, hey, what are you interested in learning about? And over half of the respondents said business and private practice. And Courtney was the first person that came to mind as someone we wanted to invite to share her story and share her experiences. So please join me in welcoming Courtney Arndt.
Hello, good afternoon. How's the volume? We're doing good? Doing good, okay. Hooray. It is such a privilege to be here today. I'm really excited, not at all nervous, kidding. My name is Courtney Arndt, and the clicker works. I am a board-certified music therapist and the founder and CEO of Florida Music Therapy. A bit about me: not only am I a music therapist and business owner, I'm also a national roster internship director with an FGCU affiliation, which is super fun. I'm a mom, an animal person, an advocate, a Chiefs fan before Taylor said it was cool. I'm from Kansas City. I'm the current high scorer on Bowling Pins pinball. I'm an author, a Great British Baking Show enthusiast. I'm a double bassist. Oh, friends. So great. I'm a double bassist. That's right. That was my emphasis in undergrad. And let me take a second to introduce Florida Music Therapy. We are a private practice with 2 brick and mortar studios, one in Melbourne, Florida, one right here in Fort Myers. We are in home, facility, and school in 6 different counties, and we are virtual all throughout Florida. We have 21 on staff, and we see about 300 participants a week. Our youngest participant is 6 months. Our oldest is 96. Oh. We specialize in neurovariant affirming care, trauma-informed care, neuro rehab, children and adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities, medical desensitization, pediatric and adult hospice, mental wellness, and a variety of others. And while all of that might sound polished now, it was born out of total chaos, guessing, failure, grit, hope, and a belief in the value of music therapy. Today, I want to tell you what I've learned in private practice, the real raw lessons that shaped me as a professional and a human, lessons I would have wanted my newly graduated 2008 self to know. A bit of a confession: up until very recently, I used to describe myself in not the best way. I would say I am a heck of a therapist and a terrible businesswoman. And everyone at Florida Music Therapy has heard that over and over again. This is just what I would say about myself. This spring, big surprise, I was awarded a Small Business Owner of the Year out of our SBA Women's. Let me show you a picture. There were over 300 women-owned businesses represented. I was the only one who brought my kid, single mom life. And this is my oldest, Evie. It was a big surprise, And you think that that would change my opinion of my abilities. It did not. I was shocked, unprepared, and they handed me a microphone. And instead of, talking about my practice or the things I built, I asked my 8-year-old daughter to stand up on our chair, and I just talked to her. And I told her how she came from a long line of strong women and what my mom sacrificed so I could be the first generation to go to college. I told her to look around the room and take note of all the stories of women who work for NASA and have built amazing businesses and all the things. So I don't want to hear when you come home from school and somebody says, you're a girl and girls can't, because I'm hearing a lot of that in the 4th grade. That is something we're hearing a lot of. And I'm like, no more. I want you to remember this moment. This is your community. Well, this acceptance speech, or, just conversation I had with my daughter in front of 400 strangers, got the attention of the president of the largest medical system in Brevard County, who not only congratulated me personally, but told his administration to set up a meeting with me and his board. Luckily for me, I had a board meeting the week prior where I had a safe and supportive space to freak out. These people, their revenue has lots and lots of extra zeros at the end of it. They oversee 700 staff members. They see thousands upon thousands upon thousands of patients. I was feeling like a very little fish. And my CFO on my board, my financial mentor, snapped me out of it with 2 facts. 1, everyone in that meeting that you're going to see applied for their position. It was already created. They are using resources that are not their own. 2, you built Florida Music Therapy from nothing. And let me tell you, I've replayed that in my mind every day since. So she told me, chin up, shoulders back, ask them, what can I do for you? You called a meeting with me. You want to hear about the things that I've built. What can I do for you? It went really well. Side note. Building something from nothing. Let's rewind. Starting Florida Music Therapy was not a lightning bolt moment. It wasn't sharp. It wasn't polished. It wasn't a business plan, soft launch, all the way to success. It was actually built on failure of my St. Louis practice, called Find Your Voice Music Therapy. And Find Your Voice was built on the heartache and loneliness and uncomfortability I experienced as a 1099 contractor. And that 1099 contractor job was pieced together teeny tiny bit, one tiny contract at a time, because I finished my studies in 2008, the Great Recession. Side note, for everyone wrapping up their studies right now, I feel for you. I know what it's like to step into, I know we are in 2 different climates, but I know what it's like to step into uncertainty, not knowing what the market is doing, not knowing what inflation, how that's going. What is the world of music therapy doing? I was right there. I pieced it together, little bits by little bits. So, if I were to rewind to that time, let me tell you a little bit about what I experienced and so what I built. Core memory, one very special participant who had a grand mal seizure and a TBI. All of her functioning and purposeful movements were a light switch on with music and a light switch off. It was the most unbelievable thing I had experienced. But as I was doing music therapy, her mom would sit at the dining room table with receipts, trying to figure out how to afford it. And I was a 1099 contractor. So I went to a company, one of the many companies I worked for, and I said, what can we do? And they said, well, do you want to cut her services? I'm like, she doesn't need less services, she needs more services. We could expand this treatment plan. I wanted accessible, affordable, equitable music therapy services for all people. What I built? Last quarter, Florida Music Therapy, 96.2%. Let me say that again. 96.2% of our participants didn't pay a penny out of pocket. That's less than 4%. Thanks, I'm really proud of that one. Once I was kicked out, that's dramatic. I was asked to step out of an IEP meeting for reminding a parent of their federal IDEA rights, which apparently, as a contracted employee of the district, I wasn't supposed to do. I was reminded that you work for the district. Nope. I want to build a company where advocacy is a core value and works alongside treatment planning. There's so much applause. You guys are making, this is bursting my heart. I've been in, hundreds of IEP meetings with children who've experienced trauma and would have qualified for a PTSD diagnosis, but were given a neurovariant diagnosis. I understand sometimes in early childhood symptoms of trauma look like neurovariants. They can. When obviously a treatment plan should include trauma-informed care, but it was easier and cheaper to go a neurovariant route because that's where the resources were. So I built a company where all music therapists are trained in trauma-informed care, and we have some that are trained to walk through a trauma recovery process. And lastly, I was alone as a contractor where I was in St. Louis. I didn't work with another music therapist. I didn't have colleagues. I would step into this place and this school and that home, and I didn't have a network. I spent most of that time wondering, am I doing it right? I don't know if I'm doing this paperwork right. I don't know if I'm doing this treatment plan right. What's a PLAAFP? Do people say pleft? I don't know. I didn't know these things, and I didn't know who to ask. I wanted a practice that teamwork was an integral part, so that it's not only supporting each other because the work is hard, but it's also that we have different specializations and our baseline is lifted because all of us work together and we can treatment plan together, we can troubleshoot together, and we can ask those questions that we're too scared to ask. That's what I wanted for Florida Music Therapy. But I actually didn't go from 1099 to Florida Music Therapy. I had a whole business in the middle. Let me tell you about that one. Find Your Voice. Find Your Voice was wildly successful in its impact. It was a terrible failure in business. Let me tell you about the impact. So that part of it was pretty cool. I went to the United Nations with Find Your Voice, which was wild. A program I built was featured at a keynote in their 18 days to end gender-based violence. That was wild. I had to sit 2 seats away from the Secretary General. It was the craziest thing. I piloted a trauma-informed care in multiple agencies in St. Louis and partnered with a nonprofit organization that funded all of it. I trained music therapists coast to coast. I was published. There were so many great things, but the books never balanced out. I lost every year that I was in that practice. So let's get started with that. What did I learn? Lesson 1, start scrappy, start smart, build with the base. If you're building from the ground up, it's got to start with core values. Ask yourself, what's my mission? My purpose? What will I never compromise on? Here's one. What would make me walk away? Because if I'm honest, private practice will test all of it. I'd also like to think further. What's your skill set? Does it match the job? And what do you want? In 2013, when I started seeing all of these young students that had experienced trauma but were put into a neurovariant category regardless of their neurotype, I went back for my master's studying music psychotherapy. And I got a GA position, so I was teaching undergrad and practicum, and it was great because I was in the classroom teaching practicum, and then all of those students came with me in my private practice, so it was kind of like a fun little thing we were doing. All of those students, mentoring students, has been an integral part of my practice for the last, how long has it been, 17, 18 years? But when I ask students about their career, because that's what we're building for, right? Not to get to boards, not to get to internship, not to get to that entry-level job, but a career in music therapy. I always ask, what are you going for? What's most interesting to you? At that time in 2013, most students, I'm saying like over 90%, were interested in W-2 salary jobs with all the benefits. Makes sense though, right? Rolling out of a recession. Recently, most of the students I mentor are looking to start their own private practice. I hear things like values of flexibility, travel, hybrid work environments, which makes a lot of sense. Rolling out of a global pandemic, right? We saw a lot of W-2 jobs crumble during that time. We also learned what's important to us and want to build those things in. But here's the thing. When I talk to students, I either hear salary or I own a whole private practice, and not all the things in the middle. I chose private practice. Can I tell you a little bit about it? I think private practice is a little bit like being a sole parent of an infant. I say that as a mom. I also say that as a mom of Evie, the one that was a few slides earlier, was a failure to thrive baby. She had all the correct autonomy, but couldn't swallow. And so putting her in the NICU with a feeding tube wouldn't help her develop those muscles. So I worked with an OT, and every 2 hours we did timer-led feeding. I fed her with a dropper and trained her muscles. I would feed her for about 45 minutes to an hour, sanitize. I would have a 30-minute break. The alarm would go off, and I'd do it again all day, every day for 8 weeks. That cost more of me than I knew I had. And private practice is not quite that dramatic. I do get to sleep a little bit. I mean, I'm a mom. I haven't slept in 10 years, but it is a little bit like that. It requires constant nourishment and attention for survival. I know Florida music therapy inside and out like I know my own children. I know my kids' shoe size, how many clean shirts they have in their drawers, which is not many because I'm a little bit behind. I know their favorite foods. I know all their friends' names and which friends we have beef with. I know their teachers' names. I know their teachers' favorite snacks and where they like their gift cards. I know their medical history and everything about them. I know Florida music therapy the same. I can tell you every number, every profit and loss, every forecast, everything about Florida music therapy is up to date as last Monday, because that's when I run all analytics and forecasts and bookkeeping. The reason I say that, no one ever said, I love to travel. I think I'll be the sole caregiver of an infant. But you know what I have heard? I had a 1099 come into my office, and she's like, Courtney, we need to talk. I'm like, great, because I also love conversations that start that way. She's like, I have an opportunity to travel Europe for a month. I'm like, oh my goodness, Izzy, tell me about it. And she told me about and where she's going, and I'm like, you have to go. You have to. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. And you're a 1099, you can. 1099s have the most autonomy of their caseloads and schedules. They give a little overhead for things like flexibility, caseload coverage. They outsource that marketing and billing, so they get most of their time in front of a guitar instead of in front of a computer. And this one went to Europe for a month. The cost, she didn't get paid for that month. That's something that I can't do. I'd like to do, but I can't do. I had a medical leave last summer. It took me 2 months to get all the staff on board to do all the things that I do so I could take 6 weeks off. And I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads. It was hard on all of us. But it wasn't even 6 weeks off. It was really just 5 days while I was in the hospital. Because the day I came home, I was like, someone give me a computer. I need to run payroll. But all that to be said, I set boundaries. I have time for myself. But I'm also default as the owner. If there's an emergency, regardless of who's covering for me, I get the phone call. Never truly off. The trick is knowing all your options and what they'll cost you. Each one has benefits and drawbacks. The more flexibility comes with a price cost. More stability comes with a dip in autonomy. And all of that has to be decided by your core values. I chose private practice. I'm meant to build things. I like building things. I get so much joy and pride doing hard things that I didn't even know I was strong enough to do. Let's keep moving. You know what's funny is that I talk about the beginning, how I got to Florida Music Therapy, and even we'll talk a little bit about what's going on today. But starting up and all of that headache, what's going on in the culture of private practice today, those aren't the hardest parts. For me, the hardest part was the middle. And I know that sounds ridiculous given our current situation with private practice and Medicaid in the state of Florida. Companies are pausing, music therapists are pausing their jobs also. It wasn't the hardest part for me for 2 reasons. One, I actually prepared for this. 3 years ago, my board asked me, what would be the biggest detriment to your company? Being between 80 and 90% Medicaid funded, it's Medicaid shutting down. And they said, okay, let's pretend like that's happening. Let's make some plans. A few months ago, like 9 months ago, Medicaid started glitching. A few months ago, reimbursement stopped altogether. A few weeks ago, we're not even allowed to submit a claim. It is worst case scenario. But Florida Music Therapy hasn't stopped services, and we haven't stopped payroll. And it hurts seeing everything that we've saved being spent because of a contract mismanagement and a state oversight. Also, side note, we were in contract for a new studio, like a freestanding music therapy studio, the first ever in Brevard County. We had really big dreams for that. When this happened, I was able to back out of the contract and made a very hard decision to take that down payment and everything we saved to continue services until our new contract. And I'm proud of us. And being on the brink of shutting down is jarring, but it hasn't been the hardest part. One, because we planned for it, that's great. We're not at full capacity, don't mishear me, bare bones. But we prepared for it. And second, because I can't even tell you, we have the greatest team in the world. And I know that's arrogant, I got to choose all of them, but it's true. These are the most incredible people that I know. My team has been taking turns bringing me dinner because they know I'm working around the clock. I've worked 7 days a week for the last month and change. I work all day, I take care of my children, I put them to bed, I hit the computer again. And they're like, here's one thing off your plate. Then they took up a collection to get me a house cleaning service, to take something else off my plate so I can dedicate more time to saving our jobs and supporting our community. Just to give you a reference point, this contract mismanagement and shutdown, that is 292 of our children that we see. Children who can't wait for a new contract. We have pediatric hospice, we have children with degenerative disabilities. We can't wait. And if we can't wait for one, we can't wait for all. And we're doing our best. and it hurts. My team has also been coming up with out-of-the-box ideas. We're in this together. I am not alone. This is not the hardest part. But earlier in my career, earlier in Florida Music Therapy got up and running quite quickly, and suddenly, very suddenly, I found myself MTBC, CFO, CEO, janitor, billing department, scheduler, office manager, HR, marketing department, bookkeeper, and the hats did not stop. Shifting between all of it was too much and nearly broke me. That's when I put out an ad for an office manager. And the day she accepted, it popped up in my computer while I was in a workroom. I read it out loud, everyone cheered, and I broke down in tears because of the relief. I now call Rachel, our office manager, the keeper of dinner and bedtimes, because I haven't missed one since she started. But that's me. Those are my core values. I'm a low-risk business owner. I had to build to delegate. I did not take out a loan to get an office manager, which I could have done, but that would have made this fall look very different in our Medicaid emergency. I'm a low-risk business owner. But building, that's where the magic is. Yeah. I am deeply passionate about music therapy, supporting our community, supporting our participant building teams, but that's not what keeps the lights on. What does? Budgets, analytics, P&Ls, good projections and forecasting, knowing all the numbers to make really smart decisions. Delegating tactical tasks, prioritizing strategic tasks. Fall in love with operations, not just inspiration. That's what'll carry you through. And as you're building, it's always a good idea to build in some boundaries. Boundaries ensure sustainability. They protect business from burnout. They model healthy management for staff and participants. It is not our strong suit. Let me be very clear. I'm sorry, all of my friends, all of my Florida Music Therapy friends. It's not what we do well. Individually, collectively, we are awesome. It's very rare that I hear someone hold on to their boundaries, but I'll tell you, if you walk too close to someone else's, 4 music therapists will puff up and guard them. We are great for each other. My office manager won't take a lunch break until I eat lunch. That's something she does. I'm working on that. But sometimes boundaries need to change. With Medicaid on pause and our practice in a state of emergency, our boundaries have shifted drastically, but they've shifted purposefully. This was not a slow, okay, well, let's let this one, okay, we'll do a no-cost session until we don't have boundaries left. They were moved with intention. Our boundaries were that, and now they look like this until this date. Build boundaries that are sustainable, multifaceted, purposeful, changeable, and intentional. And work with the end in mind. Knowing where you're going, map it. The biggest shift at Florida Music Therapy was moving from a one-step-at-a-time practice to we are going to this endpoint, and we are moving there purposefully, strategically, tracking continuously, and being quick to pivot. Key, quick to pivot. And also not going alone. Find your people. Keyword, your people. I had a CPA for 2 years. I ended that contract after a racist joke. I have things to build. I don't have time for that. I had a bank call me to schedule our quarterly review because I go in every quarter to talk about banking and opportunities and what we're doing. This banker called me and said, you know, sweetheart, there are a lot of big numbers to go over. Why don't you bring your husband? My name is the only one on this practice, and I don't have a marital status listed. Or an orientation, for that matter. This is very problematic. That one was wild. I went down the street to a new bank and asked for a meeting, and I said, hey, Women own over 40% of small businesses, but have access to less than 4% of SBA capital. Women accessing funds is very difficult. What are you doing to support women-owned businesses? Also, are you racist? Or anything less than affirming of gender orientation or anything that makes a human a human? I need to know these things. I've got a job to do. I've got a community support. I need to find my people. Poor Kevin. He goes, are you okay? Then he gave me this lovely explanation about how they are supporting women-owned businesses, and they see that huge gap specifically in women-owned businesses and BIPOC businesses. And what they're doing, he gave me a lovely example, and I've been happily banking ever since. Find your people, your colleagues, your staff, your business and community partners. If you've got work to do, you need to find your people and find them early. Game changer for Florida Music Therapy was our board. This was through the Women's Business Center. It's a board that was built for me. I didn't go out and seek them. They were built for me. All women, all experts in their field of marketing, HR, CEO, finance, and so on. These are my people. The first several meetings, I was very intimidated, also very frustrated, if I'm being honest. I kept coming in with decisions that needed to be made, and they kept asking me to run analytics. It was a bit like, have you ever tried to get a talk therapist to make a decision for you? Successfully? I have yet to do that, not for lack of trying. But a few months after having this board, my staff came in with a formal complaint. We are out of space. We have to rent more rooms. We are busting at the seams. We can't work. It's, all the things. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Wait a second. I just ran space analytics. We're at capacity 90 minutes out of the week. So I did a little investigation, with some curiosity, leading with some curiosity, and found out that those 90 minutes were so stressful, and we had a couple of double bookings, that my job became very, very clear, not to rent space that we didn't have the budget for, but to reduce stress of those 90 minutes. Problem solved. But in that, as I was like, oh, we just can do this, and we can do this, and we can do this, and then all of a sudden it hit me, oh my gosh. This was like a wax on, wax off analytic exercise, and they Mr. Miyagi'd me. But I learned to track not just impact, but income, and literally everything else. Now this year, I've been working on forecasting, projections. This is what I've been learning as a CEO. Forecasting in a way that QuickBooks doesn't cash flow forecast, manually, exactly, with reconciliations and systems that every time I move a number, I see what next month, 3 months, 6 months, year, 5 year is gonna look like every time I change a number. And as I'm learning this process, I was reporting it to the board, and all of a sudden, it clicked. I can do this with everything. I can do this with HR and marketing campaigns. I can do this with staff retention. I can see the future. And when I said that, the board cheered. It was a big moment, and they said this. This is everything. This is CEO, higher level executive thinking. And I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, it is. It is. I skipped one. Oh, but look at these beautiful people. Oh, Fort Myers branch. Ugh. Track your income and your, yeah. Okay, sorry. She said it's higher level executive functioning. No, it's not. It's music therapy. Hear me out. Starting with the base, core values, philosophy, knowing your options, starting with analytics, intake, assessment, getting an end goal. We live and breathe SMART goals, right? Finding your people, therapeutic matches, tracking impact and income, analyzing, reporting, being quick to pivot. That's music therapy. That's treatment planning. That's all my education and training. And I'm quite good at music therapy. And that was the change. It's not that I'm a heck of a music therapist and a terrible businesswoman. I'm a heck of a music therapist, and that makes me a good businesswoman. So to wrap it up, what would I tell my 2008 self? This is for your enjoyment. I had to do some digging because that was definitely taken on a 3mm camera. And the other picture is from an office theme party where I dressed up as a mug. That was my mug shot. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Everyone was characters. It was a great time. It was at Chili's. We had Dundee's. It was a whole thing. What would I tell my 2008 self? Not much, to be honest. I needed the uncomfortability in my 1099 contractor work to move to business ownership. I needed to fail at business to grow in systems and operations. But I would tell myself a few things, and I'd like to say them to you too. You will make mistakes. Make them bravely. You will feel alone. Find your people. You will doubt your value. Remember your investment. You will grow into the kind of professional and person you never imagined. You are a world changer in a world that sometimes doesn't see how hard you work or what the work costs you. A world that desperately needs the work that we do. So thank you. Thank you all for being here, for listening, and thank you for being a part of this work with me.
Thank you, Courtney. Before I introduce what's happening next, don't go far, don't go far, don't go far. And while we're doing a little stage setup, I learned something about Courtney earlier today. I learned that I'm going to take advantage of the fact that we have a lot of musicians in here. Musicians. Her birthday was yesterday. So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Courtney. Happy birthday to you. I would like to please invite Sarah and Nadia and Jenna up. So after that fantastic talk, and we're going to get a couple chairs out here. Thank you, Julia and Anthony. Sarah Gregg, Nadia Henneman, and Jenna David, out of chaos, is that a fair thing to say? Was it really just a year ago? Oh, that's very specific. A year on October 15th. Found themselves in a situation where all of a sudden, out of nothing, they each had to start their own private practice. And so as a follow-up to, I've been to a couple of conferences recently where there would be a speaker and then kind of a curated Q&A with people with, between the speaker and a couple of individuals who had some sort of interest in the topic. And I thought, oh, so we have Courtney talking about business, and we have 3 alums in the area who are figuring this out as we go. And so I asked and invited Sarah, Jenna, and Nadia if they would be willing to speak with Courtney and really ask Courtney questions. And so I'd like to invite them to the stage. We're going to give everyone a mic. I'll give my mic to Courtney here in a second. But please join me in welcoming Sarah, Jenna, and Nadia. Who also, by the way, do happen to be alums of this program. I forgot to mention that as well. So I will pass it off to you all.
Well, thank you so much for having us, Dr. Sunamore. Thank you all for just being willing to listen to, and thank you, Courtney. I know we were all back there like, that's amazing. It's just really amazing to see how much passion you have, not just for your clients, but also for your staff, and what you've been doing to keep everything afloat and be able to support them, because you know, it's been a crazy year, and that's just, it's really inspiring and encouraging to see a business owner that's just willing to plan ahead and take care of their people. So thank you for what you're doing. It's amazing. I'm actually going to pass it off to Jenna first. I think, yeah, take it away.
Hey,
Jenna.
y'all. It's so good to see so many of my favorite people in the room. I missed you all very much. I'm very excited to be here with you. Some questions for you. When you first began your training and education as a music therapist, did you ever picture yourself becoming a business owner, running a brick and mortar practice, offering internships, or operating across multiple counties in the state of Florida?
No.
I think that.
Thank you.
I cannot stress enough how much that would have shocked my 2008 stepping into America's Great Recession when I was just trying to piece things together. I mean, I am super transparent in practice and in community. My first year, gross, I was working 12 hours a day piecing things together, made $21,000.
Yeah.
6 days a week. I was just trying to eat.
Yeah.
And to think that that I would build something or move or put something together was unbelievable.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think that is so refreshing to see, especially since I know that there are a couple of other women on this stage where we are currently, I think, finding inspiration from you and currently going through something somewhat similar. So we're very excited to be able to talk with you more. Are there any opportunities you are currently working on or any dreams you have for the future, either as a business owner or as a music therapist? Any incoming cool opportunities?
All the cool opportunities. I think the heartbreaking part of that is the current climate in private practice has shifted all of our attention away from the things that we have been building. We were building our own freestanding music therapy studio. We were in line for raises before this happened. And I say that, I set up Florida Music Therapy as an S-Corp. I'm a W-2 of the S-Corp, just like my colleagues, just like Jackie right here. I'm not even the highest paid W-2, I'm the third highest paid W-2. But we had brick and mortar, we had big things planned in regards of internship, which is my favorite investment of ours. And now we are shifting gears to surviving with the smallest impact to our participants and our payroll as possible. We are just getting to our new contract 1/1/26.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And that actually leads into some of our next questions between Nadia and Sarah, actually. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to them.
All right, I will go next. So I know you were talking a little bit about creating funding for your clients, and you said 96% you have created funding for. How did you go about that?
One at a time. One funding source at a time. And then, piece by piece. But if there's a hoop to get someone music therapy who could benefit from music therapy, we'll jump. We just need to know which hoop to jump through. So that kind of became my job. As we started growing and as I was able to delegate, I took steps away to focus on that. The more music therapists we had, the more I could step into an admin role and pursue other funding sources. Medicaid, Sunshine CMS, which is our biggest provider, that's the one that had the mismanagement of contract and the sudden shutdown. It's not our only Medicaid. We're also direct providers with Simply and Champ VA, which is a military. Both have glitched at the same time, actually. Wow. They're just smaller of our funding sources. Sure. But if there's a way, we will find it. Also, part of our internship program that I really, really love, we have, an internship, there's projects, right? We have one of our projects, we switched it a couple of years ago, we call it a legacy project. If someone's going to be investing 6 months of their studies into our community, what are you going to leave behind? We have people from all over the country, and it's just as much for our interns as it is for our community and our participants. And it's easier to leave something, right? And no energy is wasted. It's not a project to check a box because we're building something. The projects that the interns have built, one found a grant for the Down Syndrome Association of Brevard. That was 4 years ago. She applied for it. That was part of her legacy project. She got it.
Wow.
It was amazing. Now we have every child and adult with Down syndrome in the county can come to a Down syndrome funded group through a grant, and that has been a lasting grant that has been renewed, and we are still, she moved back to Ohio. But we are still benefiting from the legacy she left behind. It's so lovely. So it's not just one thing at a time, but people who have ideas and are reaching out to other funding sources.
Things to think about for your capstone.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. There's a lot of resources, and we're still pretty new to all of this, so we're still learning about a lot of resources too. So it's cool to hear that there's more that we haven't heard about. So that's really incredible.
Do you work with Step Up for students as well? So what percentage would you say is Step Up for students, and what percentage, sorry, what percentage is Step Up for students, and what percentage is more of like the Medicaid insurance?
That is tricky because we do have some crossover.
Sure.
Also, it's tricky because it's just a fact. Families are awarded different amounts of Step Up. And though schools, like private schools, are not allowed to ask that, very often their price just happens to be all of the funds that were awarded, and nothing else is left for services or computers or curriculum for home. And so even though some of our participants have that, they can't access any of it because it all goes to private school. But I would say, hold on, I can pull up this number, even under pressure with so many eyes. Hold on. I'm going to say that our sole SUFs and AAA and McKay, which are all under the same umbrella, is about 10% of our 11% of our participants.
Wow. Yeah, now I'm doing numbers. I'm not as good with them as Courtney is, I'm sure. I know that, so with the Medicaid shutdown and what's been happening, last year, so the company we had been working for shut down overnight. We got a call on Monday saying, cancel all of your clients, you're not going to see them, and we'll explain more later. So it just kind of happened all at once, and we had really tough decisions to make and trying to figure out, what's the best next step. So we referred a lot of clients over to Florida Music Therapy because y'all showed up here right at the right time. The Lee County location is a huge blessing that it came when it did. But I know that for me personally, I decided to make the challenging decision to terminate a lot of my clients that were Medicaid that didn't also have step up, I didn't want to put them through it again if anything happened with, with the Medicaid. But that being said, now, there's not much clarity as far as what's next and whether or not we'll ever see funds from MTM that we're also owed, which I know we're all trying to figure out as we go along. But there are some clients that, they are in that similar boat with Step Up, right? So they don't really have the funds to allocate for therapy necessarily. So let me ask it this way. Do y'all provide like a sliding scale with private pay and with Step Up? And like, how did you go about creating those numbers and is it based on income for families? Is it based on, what their current situation is if they were to use funds like Step Up or something like that? How did you come up with all of those numbers?
A lot of trial and error, to be honest. I can tell you what I've learned. Never go below cost of service. Feed the baby, right? That infant that requires so much nourishment has to come first for survival. So we have our basic cost of service, and so we'll go right up to that, or right down, maybe. Let's use that direction. We'll go right down to that. So that means an at-cost service. It's just enough to pay the therapist, rent and utilities, basic rent and utilities, and that's it. For us, that is like, it's not much of a percentage because we have very narrow margins. But we'll do that based on income. Something that was really tricky, first we started with it was kind of an honor system of who needs sliding scale. Yeah. And now we ask for documentation. But also, we see a lot of families. So we reserve our sliding scale, our pro bono, or no-cost sessions. Those are two separate things. We can talk about that later. But we reserve those for those without any funding options. If someone has a scholarship or grant, and they decide that they'd like to use it for this therapy, and they would like to use pro bono at Florida Music Therapy, that is not qualified. But if somebody doesn't have access to insurance or scholarships or grants or any way of getting to music therapy, that's what we reserve it for. So it's high priority.
I want to lean into that a little bit. So with that being said, I know there's a lot of adjustments coming with insurance in the coming year with percentage changes and things. How do you have an action plan for those adjustments to make sure that you're able to feed the baby, per se?
I got plans on waffles. Right now, Medicaid presented us with a new contract. I am so grateful. Do not get me wrong. We have a light at the end of the tunnel. It is starting 1/1. I have that contract ready for me to sign. And I have not signed it because it's a 35% decrease in what we were currently working under. And that 35% decrease is below our rate of service. How to do it is a big unknown. I mean, we have staff, we have brick and mortar. I mean, if I'm going to throw an opinion out there, because here we are, the contract is now narrowed to get rid of fraud, waste, and abuse, which was happening. Rightly so. This is what happens. This is the natural order of things. So now all services are only in studio, but then they added in homes, which is good. But with studio comes overhead of rent and utilities. Yep. And in home comes overhead of mileage, but the rate is lower. But there's more overhead. And that part is pretty confusing. Yep. So because of that, I do have action plans. I have steps of if they this, then I this, and I have it mapped in 200 ways. My flow charts are outrageous. Some of them are on a chalkboard in Brevard, to be honest. I work a lot on chalkboards. But yes, but currently we are sitting on a contract that is ready for us, but we are not quite ready for it. That was a great question.
Yeah. I know that, we've also been each of us has made different decisions regarding how to move forward with Medicaid right now. I know that I only had a few Medicaid clients left. I had started kind of termination processes and trying to refer them out over the past year, just because I wasn't sure. And, we work with clients that really need the notice, and when we can't provide that, it's really challenging. And having to have so many difficult conversations with parents, and we're a lot more than just a therapist. We have to do so many things and wear so many hats when we're working with families. All that to say, I only had a few clients. Jenna had what?
All of them were Medicaid. Not all of them. But I had I was doing a lot of traveling. I kind of moved my life over here for the career that I was doing. And I know. I moved over here for an opportunity, and then a couple of months later, they said, sorry. And I said, oh, no. I'm going to have to find a way to make this work. And so I was working and creating programs in different facilities for a while, some of which I had to say goodbye to. And a lot of my clients that I originally had, they were like, please, we don't want to go anywhere else. Some I tried referring out to you guys as well, and they said, we'll find a way to make it work. So I carried a lot of my clients over into the next step. And now that a lot of those clients who heavily relied on our systems of our government and SNAP and Medicaid and all of those things are ending, we are kind of at a standstill for a lot of things. So I would say only probably about 5 out of my 20 clients were able to continue working at this time, while we're currently trying to create other opportunities or avenues moving forward. Yeah.
So we've all been trying to diversify, and figure out ways to do that, and we've each have taken a different route with that. But also just in the here and now, things that we've looked at are grants, or like how to partner with a nonprofit in the area to be able to do that. What sorts of ideas do you have, or just avenues you would suggest that we go to start a process like that, to be able to try to explore some other avenues, like with grant writing or applying for grants?
Are you an LLC?
Yes.
Are you a 501c3? No?
Yes.
Yes?
We're not yet. We're on the track.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
That's your ticket.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're learning a lot of stuff right now, guys.
We're on the
We are
track.
learning right now
We
a
also,
lot of stuff.
we're partnering with some 501c3s
Yes,
as well.
yes.
So, that's kind of the avenue that we're going right now. Right now, we are for-profit businesses. We're looking into many different ways to go about moving forward to ensure that we can continue services. But as far as where we're at right now, with just being, right now we're just sole proprietors. We're not looking to hire anybody. We're not, we're just making it through one day at a time. Would you recommend, so we've worked a little bit, we've talked with like NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness, and some other 501c3s in the area to be able to start that process. But have you ever had experience of just like, should we just like show up with these grants like, hey, I think y'all could do, like, what would be the best avenue to go about this?
My success with grants has been partnering with nonprofits where I write the grant and they submit it. That's the best case scenario that I've had. I've gotten a grant from Broadway Cares in New York.
Oh, that's
who funded
amazing.
a program, not for Florida Music Therapy, that was Find Your Voice. Sorry. But it was really fun. The St. Louis Cardinals funded an entire program and a room full of instruments. Bless them. That was a way to go about it because the nonprofit wanted music therapy, but didn't know enough to advocate for music therapy. I was the advocate. So I created, and they presented. Music therapy, if I'm honest, is not a hard sell. It's awesome, and everybody knows it. Marketing is not hard. It's getting to the right places. And in the world of nonprofits, and I've worked with and for a lot of nonprofits, the ones that I've worked with, 90% of donors were individuals, not grants, not scholarships, not things to apply for. It's someone who knows someone who wants to fund something or to be a part of something bigger. And it's just getting information in front of the right audience, I suppose. And I think that actually is less about marketing and less about funding source and more about networking. We can talk about that too.
Yeah. Absolutely. I just had one more. Did you want to go? Did you? Okay. As far as, not right now, we're getting over the Medicaid hump and, figuring out all of these things. But Nadia and I have been focusing more on facilities. So we're at the David Lawrence Center, we're at Bentley Village now, and we're starting up some other cool opportunities, hopefully in the near future. We've all been meeting with some other organizations in the area, so we've been focusing on that. And hopefully, I think with all of these opportunities, I'm looking into, what would it look like to start an internship, to go that route? So what are ways you would suggest to start preparing for something like that? Obviously, I've never been an internship supervisor before. I've seen it done a few different ways, and I think Florida Music Therapy seems really unique in that you offer a lot to your interns. So I kind of want to know just how did you get started? How did you build what you have with your internship and the sorts of, the stipend and the housing that you've been able to offer? Where did you start?
At the end, with really, really big dreams. I knew what I wanted internship to be. And internship is like the greatest thing for a private practice because there is nothing, when you become a supervisor, there is nothing like an intern following you around and being like, why did you do it like that? Nothing refines a practice more, am I right? Than interns asking all the questions. It is good for our therapists. Also, I went back for my master's in 2013. I haven't been in the classroom in a minute. I get interns with the latest research, all this fresh energy, all these great ideas, and then it's our job to give them as much as possible because we are setting them up for a career in music therapy, not just completed an internship. So we want them to know everything that we know so they have a different baseline. That's our contribution to the future of music therapy. So so I just did our philosophy. And also, if you're thinking about that, I believe that national roster sites are required to post their philosophy of internship supervision. So go shopping. And so core values. And then I started thinking about my own experience. The only way I made it through internship was because a friend of mine moved to Nicaragua, and her bedroom was up for it had some space. And I worked for her mom's business, and I cleaned house, and I made them dinner twice a week for housing during my internship. That is the only way that I made it. And I realized Jackie was our first intern. I couldn't have done what Jackie did. I wouldn't have been able to afford an internship at my own practice. Yeah. So what did I need? What would I have needed? So then I thought at the very end, and I'm like, ideally, what we're working for, housing and stipend. Mm-hmm. We want anyone to be able to have an internship at Florida Music Therapy. It should be about the fit, not about the accessibility of it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted a condo that was next to a bus stop, or it was 2 miles from our studio, so it was bikeable because Florida. But there was a bus stop. We have intern computers, and we have intern instruments. All we have to do is have someone show up, and we can even get them here. Yeah. And so that was our end goal. Now we have either stipend or housing. That's where we want to go, is having both. So it's just enough for basic needs. And then also, think about the learning component. If all of your needs are taken care of, you have more space in the prefrontal cortex to learn all the things that you need to learn. That's better therapy. That's our core value. That's our whole bit. So once I knew what I wanted, I had to work backwards. All of our benchmarks. And well before Jackie came along as our first intern, we put our internship stipend in the budget. Yeah. Little bit. Tiny bit. It's so much better, but it was so little at first, and baby steps is still movement. Yeah. So we budgeted for it, and we took steps before we even found the right match. And then by that point, we had a little bit saved just in case it went to kaput. So it just, we had that saved. And then we were able to grow, and then we're like, okay, so what if we made it a little bit more? Let's put that into the budget for 6 months. And then the next round of interns, we had a little bit more. And then as our internship program grew, that's how we got housing. Now we piloted in Brevard. My next step is to bring it to Lee County. Is to have some housing. Because, if we have $500 an intern, but we have 5 interns, well, that's a mortgage right there. And housing in Brevard is so expensive. Yeah. It's much more economical for our interns to have access to housing than a small stipend. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe one final quick question. I get chatty with you three.
I don't know.
So nice to talk to you.
Do we have one final
I don't know if
question?
I had a final question, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for all of the information that you have provided. When I was sitting back there, for those of our friends who know, back there in that corner used to be our recital spot. So during recital class, we used to sit back there, and we were kind of all sniffling in the back. And I remember kind of saying to myself, I kind of want to be like her when I grow up. So I just want to say thank you so much for being an incredible human being in probably the hour and a half that I've only met you. So thank you so much, really, truly.
Thank you, Courtney. And thank you, Jenna and Nadia and Sarah. We have our next break. We will reconvene at about 3:30 for a panel discussion. Again, restrooms, food, drink, and is there going to be music?
Yes, there will be music over in the recital hall. I just cut the cake, so we have cake. It looks so yummy, so please eat some. Also, if you are an alum or you are a Curtin student and you haven't signed the thank you cards, those are for our community partners. We are so fortunate to have so many people partnering with us, so please make your way out to the foyer and sign those cards if you haven't done so yet. Thank you.
I did that every week. I traveled 3,100 miles a month. And I asked them, and I was like, hey, like, this is not this game. And they were like, do you have anything else? And I was like, you don't have anything else. I'm not. I can do all. They were like, well, I guess we'll have to like look for more clients for you. And eventually I sat them down and I was like, and finally they were like, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know.
My face is such an awesome
No, no. Straight up, I was like, I understand that this can be a very unprofessional take, and I understand it as a like employee if you may need to if you need to have a conversation about the way I'm approaching this. But I don't understand as a business how this is sustainable for you guys as a business because you're losing money. And they didn't see it because they refused to cover mileage, but they covered gas.
But you're going to.
But
There's a lot of things.
There's a
But, like
lot of
now looking
things.
back, you're like, why was this set up for this?
There's a lot of that. And so I eventually, like, point by point, I was like, this is how you're losing money, this is how you're losing money, this is how you're losing money. And I said, oh my gosh, you're right. No joke.
Yeah. And then, like, we talked about, you know, what would it look like to have, like, regional therapists, or at least regional
Yes.
on a day, like,
Yes.
right? Like, kind of the Naples region for Mondays, or whatever, right? Like, what would it look like to do? And they were like, sorry.
Yeah.
So we talked about, you know, like, 'cause, I don't know, there's just a lot of things looking back, it's like, this isn't, like, fundamentally, so we learned a lot about ways that we want to do things different.
They were keeping Google.
Google Drive, but not. Oops. It got there eventually. Anyway.
There's a lot of people of why they built their business. And there's a lot that they don't know nothing about why they actually built it. So just putting it that way. And I only know that because I got a bunch of phone calls from a bunch of clients who received money calls from Sunshine House.
No, I've never heard of that. Oh, interesting. Just got off the phone with 30 other people that are looking for that next day. But it's just not happening.
There was a lot of stuff like they were like, hey, by the way, you need to provide all of these things for each of these clients. And she's like, it'll take me 5 minutes each. It took us 7 hours.
It was like 2 a.m. when we found out everything done because there was no, this was our first experience and we were told, oh, no documentation.
Which we took our we documented it because it's
We didn't know data and goals and objectives.
For the actual job that you're required, and then you're like, oh, here you have to do this one. And it's like, oh, well, this was the little documentation that I was doing based off of my practicum. This doesn't translate, so it was in like literally 70 hours, like 3 to 2 months worth of things. Yeah, so, and then we started our business out of this. Our mind is loaded, it's loaded, like mode, and then just like heart to heart. So like, yeah, so like we're all like,
We did a lot of crying. So much.
We've just been saving up for our tattoos with our
that's our end goal, is getting our tattoos.
Love that end goal.
We're like, when we can do that, we made it.
Yes, that's where we're at.
So it's been a very long journey, and we've hit, a bigger brick wall each time. I will say
and go. Would everyone please make their way back into the recital hall?
Ooh, good idea.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We are so excited that you're here. My name is Jaylee Montgomery, and I am a new faculty member as of the last year and a half, and just absolutely delighted to be here. Thankful to all of our community partners who could join us today, and for our music therapy alum and our students who are also here. We really appreciate you celebrating with us. We have an esteemed panel of I about said judges. They're not going to judge you, don't worry. Esteemed panel of music therapists at all levels of their career. We have a student all the way through someone who is retired / semi-retired, all the way through at different stages of careers. And our students actually came together and filled out a questionnaire form of questions they would like these lovely individuals to answer. So before we get started, I want you to know who they are, and who better to tell them than themselves. So we're going to start with Dr. Senna Moore, and just give us a brief introduction of who y'all are.
Hello, I am Dr. Senna Moore. I am the current coordinator of the music therapy program.
Hi everybody, I'm Chantal Deschaise. I am a current student in internship at Florida Music Therapy.
Mike Rohrbacher, I'm acting as if I'm retired.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Roquant, and I was in the first class of music therapy here. Woo! Yes. Now working as a full-time music therapist in hospice at Continuum Care over in Fort Lauderdale. And I'm also a recording artist. I have my own album out, and one of my songs is the International Songwriting Contest semifinalist.
Hi, my name is Lyric Ingram, and I'm a current music therapy student here at FGCU in music therapy practicum at Golisado Children's Hospital.
Hello, my name is Gwyneth Morris. I am a recent graduate of the program. I'm part of the 12 from the 2024 class. Woo! I just completed my first year as a music therapist over at Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital over in Hollywood, Florida. I work on the intensive care unit as well as our hematology oncology unit and our rehab unit.
Thank you. Well, the first question our students would like to know is, what is a favorite memory of yours, a best experience you've had working with clients throughout your career? I know it's going to be hard to narrow it down, but if some of you'd like to share a favorite experience.
So I just recently, as of last year, I completed an internship over at Brooks Rehab up in Jacksonville. And I think one of my favorite memories from there, I'd have to say, that really stands out to me. We had this one young woman who is learning how to walk again after some medical complications. And from her experience in PT, she felt that she had the professionals were doing most of the effort and work for her. And in her first time doing music therapy and physical therapy as a co-treat, she was walking more yards than we had seen her previously moving. I think she only walked about 20 feet her first time ever, and then times 5 with music therapy. And as I was guiding her, she said, "Gwen, stop pushing me, like stop pulling the thing. You're doing too much work." And I showed her and I was like, "I haven't touched you all day." And then she realized how much she was actually putting in that effort and started crying because she realized that that was her work and not something that we were doing. And it really helped her just motivate her throughout the rest of her treatment.
I don't have as many experiences to pull from as the rest of our panel, but I think it was literally my second practicum session, we had because I was still observing, I had a session with a client who was, I want to say 13 or 14 months old. I believe the diagnosis was a cyst of some kind. I regret that I don't remember the details. But a lot of the work that we do at Golisano's, or at least that I've experienced in my practicum, is mostly emotional and social goals. And we've been kind of regulating like normalization and limiting isolation. So a lot of the work I've been doing has been a lot of play. And in this session, this client was kind of shy and they hadn't really like smiled for the whole first beginning of it. We did this, our music therapist, our supervisor she did Baby Shark, and she had these like little Baby Shark finger puppets. And so my co-SMT and I, student music therapist, were playing with the sharks and client is attuning to them. I think it was me. I think I like held one out to the client to check it out, and they held it, looked me dead in the eye, dropped it over the edge of their crib. And so then, my partner and I go like, uh-oh, we like go to pick it up. And we get back up and this kid was smirking at us. And the rest of the session, that was the game, is they would drop the puppets over the side and we had to pick them up. And music therapist is still playing, and at some point, like, client also starts to do the instruments. But there was just something magical in righting myself and realizing that this client is smiling and having fun for the first time. This was my second experience in the field, too.
Let's hear from one more panelist.
Okay. I do. And I have to mention my case study patient from my internship, because that was the moment I realized she wasn't just a case study patient. It was the aha moment of, this is why I got into this. And first, I was an intern in hospice. First song she ever asked me for was Stairway to Heaven. I was like, that's a tall order, and I love the honesty. So we grew a bond and good rapport, and I got to bring my songwriting skills into that with her and just asked her one question: what's important in life? And she gave me a whole list. And we wrote a song together, and I recorded that for her, and full circle moment, we played that at her memorial service. And the family has that to keep, and it's just such a beautiful memory, and to see how much comfort that brings to the families. That's why I do what I do.
Well, I don't have to tell you all because you all either are music therapists or you know about music therapists, but don't we have the coolest job in the entire world? All right. Do you ever feel, so being a music therapist and in and out every day with clients at whatever facility you may be at, do you ever feel like you're doing the same thing every day with no changes in either the clients or musical approaches? Have you ever gotten into a rut, and what have you done to get out of that rut?
There's real magic to take advantage of that the credential has to offer, and that's continuing education. The moment you're stuck, go hit the books, go meet other therapists, head to some in-services, whatever it would take. But continuing education is a wonderful way to get out of that rut.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't think I've ever gotten in a rut. I think there's something to every moment being a moment, and it's always different. We're different every day. We're working with different humans every day who change every day. The music and what's happening musically is different moment to moment every day. So I don't think I've ever gotten in a rut. If you're a student out there, 2 challenges sometimes I will share is, 1, go into the MTLL, which is our Music Therapy Learning Lab. This is where we have all of our resources and instruments, and find something you've never used and figure out a way to use it, right?
Yes, and I am not on the panel. I'm just the moderator, but I am going to answer this question too, even though you didn't pay to hear me speak today. I had a private practice, and I was a contractor and had many different sites that I worked at and many different client homes I would go into. And then I applied for a position at an autism center. And I thought about the same thing, like, oh my goodness, it's just the only diagnosis of individuals I'll be working with are autistic clients. And is that going to feel like the same thing every single day? Because all of the clients will have the same diagnosis. And oh my goodness, what a fun ride that was. Every day was different. Every session with every client was different. I never felt like it was the same thing. I think that's the beauty of the humanness of what we do, that every human that we see, every client we get to work with is so uniquely different. And our moods change every day and our needs change every day. So it's such a refreshing thing to be a music therapist and to just know that even if you are working with one population, you're really just working with one person and then another person and then another person. It's not really about diagnosis, it's about the person.
I feel like I can speak on this as well because I work a lot with dementia patients, and so the repetition is the key in those sessions. And so I know I have a patient every Friday, I know I'm going to sing The Sound of Music. I know I'm going to be singing Frank Sinatra every week. And so when the person wants My Way for the 1,000th time, I echo what Dr. Warbacher has said, is keep that passion and the learning alive. I'm really thankful that I go to open mics and I'm engaged in the community and things that are other music and the music that inspired me, and to keep in touch with that. So when the repetition happens, it's not so monotonous.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
And that all of you are musicians. Think of the 100th or 200th time that you've played a Bach invention that you love. And every time it just keeps speaking to you in new ways. Clients are beautifully like that.
So thank you all, panelists. I appreciate the answers to those questions. So even though I just admitted that we do have the best career in the entire world, I know for myself that burnout can absolutely happen in our career. Have any of you ever experienced burnout? And how have you overcome if you have experienced burnout? If you're willing to share.
I have my days, even now, where I'm like, wouldn't it be nice to have a 9 to 5 where I just clock in, clock out? But the moment passes pretty quickly. I don't know that I've ever gotten burnt out, but certainly there are periods of time and there have been seasons that have been really, really hard. And sometimes it's often when it's hard to me, it's emotionally hard. So there are just different things that I try to do to support myself. You know, sometimes it has been external professional support. Sometimes it's taking a break. Sometimes it's making sure I get enough sleep. So there are times where it's been hard, but I have yet to be like, peace out, I'm done. I love this. I have not looked back since that day I decided to become a music therapist.
So, even though it's only been a year, so I'd hope I'm not burnt out yet. But there are times when I do feel like, wow, this can be very heavy sometimes, especially in the 2 units I work on for oncology and the ICU, especially when I work in with end of life. But most of the time, my end of life cases are stacked in 2s and 3s. So I know when one comes in, I'm about to probably see a couple more. And that's a lot to handle when you're having to work on legacy building projects and you are trying to make as professional enough music for them to honor this patient and to serve this family to what needs that they are requesting for. That can be quite heavy at times. So for my, since the get-go, I've already structured ways to like protect myself. That is, one, I don't work outside of work. So I'm not listening to patient music outside of work. The music I listen into in my car is my music, not what patient room 4511 needs me to practice. That's gonna be on company time. And so I structured little things like that to help me stay true to myself and protect myself at the end of the day. I also say creating ways to remember that you love music helps a lot. So for me, concerts, I'm a big concert goer. So for me, going to those concerts maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times a year, I look forward to those days because I'm like, remember, this is why you love music. If this changes you, can you imagine what you might be doing to this other person's life? So building small things, it helps.
Thank you. I echo everything that you said. Yeah, especially the end of life, it gets really heavy. And self-care is so important, and that's why I want to mention probably a harder topic of when you have those feelings of burnout come up, something that I've had to assess within myself is this something coming from me that I could improve upon, or is this a leadership issue? And unfortunately, I've worked for companies where burnout was inevitable because the proper support wasn't there. And I've experienced taking that leap of faith and jumping to another company. And in the interview, they asked me what I did for self-care. I was like, wow, this is so much better already. I was like, I raise butterflies, thank you. And yeah, it was just kind of night and day. So sometimes we put a lot of the pressure on ourselves, and a lot of that is eating well, sleeping well, doing the things to stay regulated. But also making sure you have the proper support because it's already a hard enough job.
I would say another component, I echo everything that everyone said, and another component that's been a really integral piece to me to kind of finding the balance is communication. Not feeling like what's happening in your internal climate or your feelings, maybe like feeling like you should, kind of removing the word should. Oh, I should be able to handle this. I should, removing that and communicating what's coming up for you, whether that's maybe a reflection in your journal and then bringing it to wherever that needs to go, just being open to communicating.
Yes, and supervision.
In the world of administrative burnout, hang on to everything that was said by our guest and the questions that were posed. Wonderful strategies for that. Client work, hang on to the phrase, try another way. Musically, our toolbox is so rich. And maybe it's this instrument versus that instrument, this song versus that song. Use the whole artistic side of what we do. Try another way. It'll get you through that day.
Thank you, panelists. For our music therapists who've been practicing a while, tell me about this. Does a music therapist, interpret that as you wish, does a music therapist have to change their methods in order to fit with how the world is changing and changing musically?
Say that one more time.
Does a music therapist have to change their methods in order to fit how the world is changing and how music is changing?
Methods, yes. Core values, no. But methods, in terms of what you do, I mean, our knowledge and understanding continues to grow and expand. So in that spirit, I do think that our methods and what we do and how we do it, I mean, going to what Dr. Rohrbacher said about the continuing education, I hope for all students, all music therapists, that you just stay curious. That was a word you brought up, I think. Stay curious, stay interested, stay reflexive, but also stay true to who you are. And that can be hard sometimes. But I think if you know it internally, keep that. Do the good that you can do.
It's quite a question, the world. And if I wear my ethnomusicology hat for a moment, it is overwhelming. I think to maybe work laterally, how many different ways is music expressed around the world right now? And the capacity to draw from those kinds of experiences that you may not have stepped into quite yet. We were at an estate sale yesterday, and I bought the most unbelievable, from the Congo, slit drum. Now, I can hit things, but I've never hit anything like that. And I can't wait to bring it Monday morning with those kids. So it's not the future of music in the world, it's what's happening right now. So there's your styles, your genres, your idioms, all the different ways music is expressed. Push sideways.
I guess I can speak on this as well, and I echo everything that's said. And I mean, it has been 10 years, and I was in the first class of music therapy, so I've learned quite a few things. And I want to quote Dr. Jane Stanley, because I was inspired by what she said at the Southeast Regional Conference last year in Atlanta. She said, speaking on the future, and if we're talking about the current times, I mean, there's always the argument of how is AI going to affect our jobs? And so when she just flat out said, when a robot comes for your job, make sure you're in charge of that robot. And I was so inspired by that, because I would say something that is keeping me in my current position is the heartbeat recordings that we're doing and using the technology to our advantage, which has been so incredible to see the effects that it can have with our patients and families. We have a lot of patients and families who they're the frequent callers, and they're complaining, and then all of a sudden we go in with a legacy project of a heartbeat recording, and all of a sudden they love our services. They love hospice, they love everything. And so that's really grief work, and not being afraid of the technology, not being afraid where things are headed, but to learn it and to use it to our advantage.
Thank you. Gwen, what is your advice for someone who's transitioning from internship into full-time employment?
That's a good one. So for me, I think what really helped me at the very end of my internship, or I would say definitely by the middle of my internship, was treating it like it was my job and not like it was entirely educational. Yes, your job is going to be educational because you should learn on the job and what is expected of you and how you're going to adapt. But rather than being like, I'm just a student, I'm just the music therapy intern, it's like, I have to be the expert when I'm done with this. When I go to a job interview, especially for a hospital where they might not have a music therapist, which was in my case, Joe DiMaggio's did not have a music therapist at the time when I started. And my now current boss told me, Gwen, I'm going to depend on you to explain what music therapy is. I depend on you to be the expert. And luckily, I spent the end of my internship practicing that assertiveness of being confident in the skills that I had built and that I was already working on and that I knew I wanted to become. So I'd say you need to start practicing that I'm the expert now. I'm not like, yes, I come in the room, I'm the music therapy intern, but I'm the music therapy intern and I know what I've planned out and we're just gonna wing it. We're gonna go for it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you. So Chantal is in her internship right now. And yay! What is the most surprising or unexpected thing that you've learned so far in your internship?
I see my supervisor in the audience. The most surprising or interesting thing, I would say probably the real-time flexibility that is required. Whether that's one-on-one with a participant that we're serving, where I've had to learn, have a plan, but let your plan be like an anchor to keep you stable. Don't let it be a ball and chain, because at any time, things can fall apart, and that was something you tried to instill in us. But I feel like once you're like boots on the ground, and some days we're having a difficulty even coming in the door, and being open to maybe we start the session in the lobby and we work towards it, or being flexible in terms of scheduling. You might have your day planned out and something happens and your attention needs to pivot. So I would say flexibility in real time.
Thank you. And Lyric is one of our current students right now. Lyric, one of the questions that was asked is, how do you stay so organized and how do you keep a school life balance when you're in music school? Because it is a lot.
It's really funny that you think there's a balance. It's really funny. The honest answer is it's a work in progress. I am a self-diagnosed tweaker, as I call myself affectionately. If you are my friend and you follow me on Instagram, you've seen my posts where I'm doing my homework standing up and eating dinner at the same time, because that's just how my brain works the best. I have the kind of nerdy sense where I just want to get everything done and I like to do it all at once. And that is kind of where I thrive the best. I was thinking about this during like the burnout question, because this has happened to me. I found myself calling my mommy more this semester than I ever have, which is very fun. She appreciates that. I told her to watch this. Hi, mommy. Honestly, on the subject of balance, though, I think what I have been learning is knowing when to step back and stop doing all the assignments at once, and maybe even stop doing something musical entirely for a day. I've called my mom more. I've gone home to visit more often. I've tried to make better attempts of like doing things with friends, things that aren't necessarily productive, but by the time I'm done with it, I come back and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. Now I'm invigorated and I can put all of my effort into this session plan.
Thank you. Dr. Cinnamore, Dr. Rohrbacher, what do you hope to see happen in the field of music therapy practice as a whole and in the future coming years?
Technology. I think even as much as FGCU is leading the way with technology in music therapy practice, it's a glimmer of what's happening out there. So I do see all aspects of technology coming more and more into programs in terms of the clients that we work with, helping them to become increasingly musical. A second thing that comes to mind is this whole interdisciplinary, we want to maintain current practice. We talk about current practice a lot, but it's to become, this is long-term now, familiar with the current practice of related disciplines. I'll just throw out one example. Joni Milgren-Luderman, she's Fredonia, just wonderful resource for you here in the area. You know, we go back to Gaston and Sears and folks, Ruth Boxberger. You know, Sears introduced us to the concept of self-organization And then we've left it buried, not paying attention. Well, that concept goes back into the 1700s, and today it is embedded throughout the sciences, and now they've added guided self-organization. That has just screamed with growth, but we're stuck in 1968, even if we mention it. So I would say turn to other disciplines. What is their current practice? And begin embedding those things into our work. Catch up.
And I would add to that professional recognition in a lot of different ways and areas. One of that is, of course, in terms of like occupational regulation, right, in all 50 states would be fantastic. We're at 19 right now. It would be in terms of research. You know, we have, I've said for many years that as a profession we're small but mighty, right? And that includes in music therapy research, and there's some really good research that's happening and some exciting research that's happening, but it's still, compared to other allied health disciplines, it's still like a small little piece of it. So I'd like to see that continue to grow and get more recognized. The professional recognition comes in the term of access to services through things like funding and different funding sources. So I would say for me that would be one to also add, is just increase professional recognition in a lot of different sectors.
Dr. Warbacher, we had one student ask a question about advocacy. And I know sometimes from younger professionals, I've heard like, oh, we have to do so much advocacy. But I know just in the short time that I have been in this profession, I've seen there be so much more recognition of what music therapy is. Could you give us a short journey of the beginning of your career through current day, how advocacy has changed and how music therapy has grown as a field? That's a loaded question, but.
You have 30 seconds.
I love your find your people. My first job was with a principal of a school that knew about music therapy, and regardless of all the obstacles, I was hired. I think to try as quick as you can to become systematic about it. In other words, give that first public presentation or to a small group of people. Let it grow to a 3-credit course at a community college. Present at conferences. Keep talking and you'll get better and better at it. And as much as people resisted my definition of music therapy within the field, many of you may remember, well, what is music therapy? Well, music therapy, it's the music therapist that designs music activities of benefit to persons with disabilities. Now, I've gone toe-to-toe with music therapists really not wanting me to say that, but that has gotten me more footage in terms of starting a conversation about, well, what is music therapy, particularly with parents. Sorry. But let's see. I think yeah, did you have something you want to add? Yeah, go ahead.
It's definitely, even in my, I started as a student, I will tell you all, in 1999, as a music therapy student. So I've been doing this for over 25 years. And there's been, to me, a noticeable improvement in awareness of music therapy and what it is. When I tell somebody I'm a music therapist, I get one of 3 responses. One is, music's my therapy, I love that. One is somebody who's had a personal experience, like they know a music therapist, or they've had music therapy, or their mom had it in hospice, or something like that. And the third one is, oh, music therapy, that's really interesting, what's that? And the percentage of time that people answer in that third category has noticeably, to me, decreased over the past 20 years. So that's pretty exciting.
Well, we have time for one more quick question. I'm trying to find a good one. I mean, they're all very good students. They are all very good. Can someone talk about imposter syndrome? This has actually been a subject that's come up in class a couple of times recently, and one of the students wrote a question about it. So, have you ever experienced imposter syndrome, and then what did you do?
I'll say on a student level, it's very obvious because you are surrounded by a lot of your peers, and sometimes it's easy to perceive them as doing more than you or doing better than you or picking up on things faster than you are. I've definitely felt that way before, where it takes me a couple passes through something for it to cement. And so there has sometimes been like a sense of like self-consciousness about that, where I don't pick up on things quite as easily. From my end, the student end, I try to keep in mind that we are all still learning, and we're kind of learning at our own pace. And at the end of this, we're not all going to end up in the same place exactly, but we're going to all be music therapists. And maybe like our paths through that might be a little different, but that's kind of awesome that we're not all going to have the exact same minute by minute, play by play of how we got there.
May I?
Yes, please.
My supervisor and I had a shared look because I'm like, oh, still navigating that. I would say what's helpful for me and in terms of imposter syndrome is remembering that we all have our own unique abilities, skills, and qualities about us and strengths. And I feel like sometimes in music therapy, we focus so much on the participants, but we forget about the therapists. And we're all humans and we're all in this together. So giving yourself the same grace that you afford your participants and your clients. I know that I don't compare the way that I do myself. My inner dialogue is sometimes much more critical, and the same way we recognize people as whole human beings with different bodies, capabilities, intellectually, emotionally, and socially, I feel like extending that grace to yourself to realize maybe this will take me 3 hours when it takes maybe someone else 30 minutes, and that's okay.
Rebecca.
You just lit off a light bulb in my head. Thank you for saying that. Everything you just said, I echo. And I'm going to do a shameless plug here. If you're struggling with that, I wrote a song about it. So I just released it in August, and it's called Perfectionism. And there are a lot of good lines in there that hopefully will help you, because I think I wrote that for myself, to help myself through those feelings, and just a reminder that it's all our first time around, you know? So go easy on yourself.
Is there a way you could share that song on our socials for this event so that we could hear a link to it or see the words? I don't want to pressure you or anything, but...
No, I love it. Please help get my music out there if anybody has connections to Disney. No, just kidding. I'm forever a music therapist, though, because that's the heart of it. But you can look me up. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you listen to music. I go by Rebecca Marie. And actually, I named my album title based off what I've learned from music therapy. So my album is called Feel to Heal.
Excellent.
Yes.
Dr. Rohrabacher, you had a comment, and then Gwen real quick.
We work so hard at integrating so many aspects of our life. And, you know, the imposter, well, I would suggest go ahead and trust the music, okay? Trust the skills that you've acquired, and just throw the switch and do it. Do well. And keep trying to integrate that in, but throw the switch.
And also, just from my own experience being a newer employee in my hospital, where my 30-person team of child life have been in the field for probably 10 to 20 years, and then here comes the music therapist who's fresh out of school, and sometimes, trying to assume a place of leadership, because my boss says you need to be more of a leader in your team, can be very challenging at times, because you just went from a place in school where you were the senior, you were the oldest person in the group, where you were feeling like other people were maybe looking up to you, or you were hoping that you would become that person. and then you entered the program as a youngest person. So sometimes that would sneak in at times, and I'd be like, oh, I'm the kid of the group, it feels like. But then I remember that means I have a lot to learn, and that means I can also provide a lot for others to learn as well. So it's thinking on the opposite end of, okay, the imposter says you're too young. Well, that means that I'm young enough to still learn more. So I'd say that comes from it. And I also recently, I was with one of the art therapists, and I said to her, I was like, I've been working here for a year and I still haven't built my Spanish repertoire, and it makes me a bad music therapist. And she looks at me and goes, look at yourself. You just said you've been here for a year. You just got in the field. That means you still have time, Gwen, to build your repertoire with your Spanish music. And that really helps me think, oh, I need to remember what's on the other side. Recognize what you just said, and that's exactly where the solution lies.
Real quickly, something that's been helpful for me, like in real time in a session, if maybe I have imposter syndrome or something coming up, or a panic moment where I'm like, how am I going to do this? What's very helpful for me is to pause, take a deep breath, because I feel like imposter syndrome is very much our internal, and to recenter to the focus, which is serving. So asking the question of, okay, Chantal, in this moment, with the skills that I have, how can I best support? How can I best serve? And I have a participant right now who requested a song that is primarily bar chords and very challenging, some finger picking. And as someone who, full disclosure, I also have some disability things that make those skills actually challenging, physically challenging in my body. Instead of spiraling in my head, just taking a moment and saying, okay, what can I do in this moment? How can I best show up? Because at the end of the day, it's not about how I feel. It's about the participant and giving them the ingredients that they need in the moment.
Oh, such lovely humans on this stage and out there as well. Thank you so much, panel. Oh, one more thing.
I forgot this earlier, I'd be very remiss not to mention of Michaela Wallace. As students, and those of you who may remember her, she has a thriving practice in the state of Oregon. She was our first president of our Music Therapy Association. And I just remember the work it took to pull the organization together, her leadership, the board at the time. She was wonderful to work side by side with to move the program forward. So if you're involved with MTA, and I'm sure all of you are, please reflect and recall Michaela Wallace. She was wonderful to work with at that time.
Well, thank you. Thank you again to our panelists. That concludes our events for today. There's still some food out in the lobby, so I please encourage you to go get some. Dr. Sinamore has a couple of closing remarks to give as well.
Not much, just an idea I had up here. I would love if everyone here, and we can get the students out there, would come on the stage around these fantastic light-up letters just for a picture, if you all would be willing to do that. And so anyway, thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to all of our speakers and panelists. Thank you all for being here, and let's smile and then celebrate.
I know, right? Here, you take it. You take it. Yeah, hot potato. Hot potato.